Space, the final frontier. Wait. Oh, somebody already used that. Okay. In the place where no one has boldly gone before. No, can't use that either. Okay, how about... space. It's really big. Like, really super mega big. So big, in fact, it's warranted its own field of science, one that originated on a single planet. Earth. Oh, come on. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Earth, also known as Gaius, but nobody calls it that because that sounds pretty lame. Here, the human race has long sought to uncover the secrets of the universe. Astronomy, the study of celestial bodies, space, and the universe itself. Astronomy dates back about 6,000 years ago, give or take, to the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia, Babylon, and Egypt. Mesopotamia, one of the first recorded civilizations, located in the Fertile Crescent, used observatories named ziggurats to observe stars and constellations in the sky. The Babylonians, on the other hand, observed and recorded patterns in the planets and the moon to predict seasons and other celestial phenomena. The Stonehenge, a world-famous monument, was believed to be built and used for acting as a sort of seasonal calendar, and as part of rituals, using the shadows cast by the sun at different positions during Earth's rotation around it. Around the same time, the Egyptians used astronomy in both culture and practicality, using their observation of space to develop a calendar, predict floods, and align temples and monuments for spiritual purposes. During the 13th century BC, the Chinese recorded observations of eclipses, meteor showers, and comets, and were particular fans of stargazing. Later, starting around 500 AD, the Greeks and Romans became well renowned for their additions to astronomy. In this category, we have the representatives of Greece: Thales, Pythagoras, Aristotle, Aristarchus, and Antisthenes, and Hipparchus. Thales, a Greek merchant and philosopher, became famous for predicting an equinox with amazing accuracy. He was also famous for using an ideology not based around gods to explain things in the celestial world. Pythagoras is famous for his contributions to geometry and astronomy, as well as philosophy, and is also responsible for the Pythagorean theorem that he always hates doing. Aristotle, another Greek astronomy figure, argued that all motions of all celestial bodies were carried out in circular orbits, as it is the only pattern that would be believed to be able to continue forever. Next is Aristarchus, who found it possible to use geometry to find the size of the sun using the relative size of the moon, which he found to be 20 times larger than the moon. Too bad he was about 380 times short. At least he created the first heliocentric model of the universe, where the sun was in the middle. Then there was Antisthenes, who used math to find the size of the Earth. He also used geometry to calculate the tilt of the Earth itself. And then Hipparchus. He developed trigonometry and measured the distance relatively from the sun to the moon. Meanwhile, 2,000 years ago in Mesoamerica, the Mayans were busy incorporating astronomy into everyday life and culture, following a belief that the sun and stars and the planets were all actually gods. During 127 AD, a man named Ptolemy, a Greco-Roman writer, mathematician, geographer, and astronomer, created 3 special treatises: Almagest, the geography, which stated a discussion of the geographical knowledge at the time, and the Tetrabiblos, in which he discussed astrology and horoscopes. In the Middle East, the Arabs were responsible for developing many of the names of stars and other celestial bodies we still use today. Europe was essential for astronomy, holding home to many great minds, like Tycho Brahe, a Danish nobleman known for his accurate and comprehensive observations of astronomical and planetary bodies. He also proved that comets and stars, like the sun, weren't in the Earth's atmosphere, but was instead much farther away in space. Galileo was an Italian physicist, mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher who played a major role in the scientific revolution. His achievements included improvements to the telescope and astronomical observations of the past, gaining him the title of the Father of Astronomy. Johannes Kepler was a German mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer. A key figure in the 17th century scientific revolution, he is best known for his laws of planetary motion. These laws paved the way for the next person in this list, an English physicist and mathematician who is widely regarded as one of the most influential scientists of all time, Isaac Newton. He is a key figure in the scientific revolution. He was responsible for developing the 3 laws of motion and the theories associated with gravity. Edmund Halley was an English astronomer who was best known for computing the orbit of a comet observed around the Earth, which was named Halley's Comet after him. Albert Einstein was a German-born theoretical physicist who developed the general theory of relativity, one of the 2 pillars of modern physics, and for his mass-energy equivalence formula, E equals mc squared. Niels Henrik David Bohr was a Danish physicist who made foundational contributions to understanding atomic structure and quantum theory, for which he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922. Wolfgang Pauli, a Danish physicist, was responsible for developing the Pauli exclusion principle. Pauli made major contributions to quantum mechanics, quantum field theory, and solid-state physics. Werner Karl Heisenberg was a German theoretical physicist and one of the creators of quantum mechanics. He published his work in 1925. Hubble, who a space satellite was later named after, was the first to discover that there were galaxies outside of our own. Monseigneur Georges Henri Joseph Edouard Lemaitre,
that's a mouthful,
was a Belgian priest, astronomer, and professor of physics at the University of Catholique de Louvain. Again with these names. He was the first person to propose a theory of the expansion of the universe, widely misattributed to Edwin Hubble. Julius Robert Oppenheimer was an American theoretical physicist and professor of physics at the University of California. Oppenheimer's notable achievements in physics include the study of molecular wavelengths, work on the theory of electrons and positrons, and the Oppenheimer-Phillips process in nuclear fusion.
Sir Fred Hoyle was an English astronomer noted primarily for his contribution to the theory of stellar nucleosynthesis and his often controversial stance on the other cosmological and scientific matters, in particular, his rejection of the Big Bang theory.
Penzias and Wilson discovered cosmic microwave radiation in 1965. They built a giant antenna in Holmdel, New Jersey. It was part of a very early satellite transmission system called ECHO. By collecting and amplifying weak radio signals bounced off of large metallic balloons high in the atmosphere, it could send signals across long distances. When they began to use it as a telescope, they found that there was a background noise, which was discovered to be received from space. And that brings us to the space flight of Apollo 11. Apollo 11 was the spaceflight that landed the first humans on the moon. Americans Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on July 20, 1969. Armstrong became the first to step onto the lunar surface. Armstrong spent about 2.5 hours outside the spacecraft. Aldrin slightly less, and together they collected 47.5 pounds of lunar material for a return to Earth. A third member of the mission, Michael Collins, piloted the command spacecraft alone in lunar orbit, until Armstrong and Aldrin returned to it. This became one of the most historical feats of astronomy to date. And so, we see that space is one realm filled with mystery. Truly one of the final frontiers we have yet to explore to its core. We may never see a time when we discover everything about the universe, but gosh darn, we're trying. The people listed in this presentation have all made huge contributions to what we know about space, and many more will arrive in the future to pave an even farther pathway in our never-ending quest to explore the wondrous place we know as space.